stories around the world to stories here at home. This is the National News Broadcast. Good evening, I'm Sharon Masquinius.
Good evening indeed. I'm Thilina Udayaratna. For starters, we take a look at tonight's top stories.
The president says that a front comprising of a group engaged in politics on behalf of the country should be built for the upcoming presidential election. Water levels in the Ging and Nilvala rivers rise. A 5-member presidential commission to inquire into the Easter Sunday attacks. Large crowds present at the Colombo International Book Fair today.
On to the stories in detail now, starting off with local news. President Maithripala Sirisena says that what should be built up for the upcoming presidential election is a front comprising of a group which engages in politics on behalf of the country. The president made this comment at the Mathura District Conference of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party held this evening at the Mathura Valigama Municipal Council Hall. This is the third conference in the series of district conferences organised island-wide by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Senior members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and district leaders were present on this occasion. The president said that he has to explain to everyone very clearly that at the presidential election, if he came out and the Rajapaksa government was defeated, and at the same time if he did not take sides in the August parliamentary election, and if both sides were defeated, at the presidential election, which is to be held in 2 months' time, it will be him and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party which has the potential to win the election. The next government to be established and the mechanism as well as the spell are both in the hands of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. During the Pradesh Sabha elections, there was a 3-cornered battle in 2018 in the country. He said they obtained 1.7 million votes. However, media gave out incorrect statistics regarding them, the president said. He said that they are the ones who decide who will win. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party force established commissions to investigate fraud and corruption during the last government as well as in the present government. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe went to the Presidential Commission. A number of ministers of the government are going to the Commission. What is our policy? Our policy is to take the country forward with a progressive process without corruption or fraud. What is mainly required to build up Sri Lanka is to gather together and establish a front with any name comprising of clean people who are suitable for politics. However, he said that if there are thieves, corrupt persons, fraudsters, underworld gang members, criminals and drug addicts in any party, there is no point in establishing a government together with them. Similar to the work that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has carried out up to now, it will be a government that will obtain blessings internationally that will be set up. It will be a government that will not surrender to foreign forces, the president said. He further said that it is not an easy task. It is not a secret today that apart from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, everyone else in the government and the opposition have stepped into embassy office politics. Parliamentarian Dayasiri said the president mentioned that persons from other countries connected to agreements came to Sri Lanka in the immediate past. At the same time, the president said that the American ambassadors came to meet him. On this occasion, he told her as well as the cabinet, as long as he is there, no harmful agreements will be allowed to be signed. What the Sri Lanka Freedom Party expects as a policy-wise process is a political front that works towards caring for the people and loves the country. He said that all of this is being done to defeat corrupt political forces which betray the country and because it is necessary to establish at the next presidential election a progressive political front and through an alliance a people-friendly government.
The Disaster Management Centre says that with the excessive rain in the water levels of the Ging and Nilvala rivers could rise. The centre informs people and requests all of them on the river banks to be on high alert. As a result, there is a risk of flooding in Panudugama and Pitabaddara. The minor flood situation in Urava is receding gradually. People living in the divisional secretariat divisions of Matara, Kadavatsatara, Tihagoda, Malimbada, Kamburupitiya, Aturaliya, Akurassa and Pitabaddara have been asked to stay vigilant of the situation. With the heavy rain in the Urumutta Oya has overflowed its banks in Makandura and the Kamburupitiya Mulutiyana main road has gone underwater. As a result, movement of traffic on this road was obstructed. It is reported that mounds of soil have fallen onto the road in certain places. Meanwhile, due to a tributary of the Nilvala River, the Kiramba Ara Oya overflowed, and our correspondent said that many cultivated lands have already been inundated. Since many roads are underwater, the Navy acted to deploy boats for travel. A number of low-lying areas in Akuressa are also flooded. Meanwhile, the rainy conditions prevailing in the southwest part of the island could see an increase in the upcoming days, the meteorological department said. Rain or thunder showers could occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central, southern and northwestern provinces from time to time. Certain areas in the southern, Sabaragamuwa, central and western provinces could experience heavy rains of more than 150 millimeters. In other areas of the island, showers or thunder showers could be experienced here and there after 2 p.m. In the Uva and eastern provinces, heavy rain of more than 75 millimeters could occur. Temporary strong winds could be experienced with thunder showers, and the meteorology department warns people to take steps to minimize damage that could be caused because of lightning.
President Maithripala Sirisena has appointed a 5-member commission to inquire into the Easter Sunday terror attacks. The chairman of the commission is Appeal Court Judge Janak De Silva. The relevant Gazette notification has been issued by now. The reason for appointing this commission is reports of various wrongs in relation to the incident of the attacks and misusing power or authority, as well as avoiding them and being careless. Since avoiding of responsibilities has also been taken place, the aspiration of the commission is to identify the responsible officials connected. The commission comprises of Appeal Court Judge Nishanka Bandula Kannaratna, retired Appeal Court Judge Nihal Sunil Rajapaksa, retired High Court Judge Bandula Kumar Atapattu and retired Ministry Secretary WMM Adhikari.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe informed the media today about the recent cabinet meeting held. The Prime Minister said that on the 17th at the Parliament, Member of Parliament Sumandiran had told him that they had discussed with the Janata Vimukti Peramuna about abolishing the executive presidency, and at the same time mentioned that the President had informed him that he wants the 20th Amendment to be presented. The statement made by Parliamentarian Sumandiran has not been rejected. The Prime Minister said that if he pointed out to Parliamentarian Sumandiran that if this proposal is to be passed in Parliament, the support of the Podujana Peramuna will also be required. The Premier said that he informed the President that the civil society had made a request regarding this matter. The stance of the President regarding this was informed by Parliamentarian Sumandiran, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe said. Ideas expressed by parliamentarians were summarized. They expressed various views. However, the Prime Minister said making the final decision was handed over to the parties.
Minister Sajith Premadasa said that when a national agenda for a country is being created, priority should be provided to education. The minister made this comment when he joined in donating a bus to the North Kanumuldeniya Mahavidyalaya under the Samata Sahana program. The bus was donated to the school with the financial donations from the minister and wealthy private donors. The cost of the bus is Rs 4.6 million. This bus will benefit 1,500 children studying at the Hambantota Balasmulla North Kanumuldeniya Mahavidyalaya. Minister Sajith Premadasa said that there was a certain period in this country when swimming pools were built at palaces using taxpayers' money. Physical fitness centres were also constructed. When considering the priority given to developments, some politicians thought that their swimming pools were more valuable than the schools in villages. There is an opinion that we have heard that wealth must be taken from richer people and given to poorer sections. Donating this bus is similar to that concept. He said that he expects to create from rich persons around the world and those who have and allocate a dedicated supportive father to each school. In addition to money received from the government, he said that they can refer foreign resources of donors to schools and develop their standards. He said that he would like to declare that he will bring about such an era.
Minister Thalatha Athukorala said that the Secretary of the Ministry of Justice has requested the Attorney General to conduct a formal investigation into the statement made by Solicitor General Dilukri Das. She made this comment today subsequent to a function held in Puguda. Minister Thalatha Athukorala said that she was an official of the Public Services Commission under her department. The Secretary to the Ministry of Justice has requested the Attorney General to conduct a formal investigation and do what is necessary. It is what has to be done by the Attorney General at the Public Services Commission. If she thinks that this took place due to a minister, then she should reveal who the minister is. Minister Athukorala said that they will not assist in this regard. Such actions are not expected from an official like her. Even if a minister is connected or not, an official who has such a responsibility cannot do something like this.
Brazil says it is committed to enhance cultural cooperation with Sri Lanka. Acting Ambassador of Brazil to Sri Lanka, Winston Alexander Silva, highlighted on this regard during an exclusive interview with Rupavahini recently. It was held in connection with the 3rd Brazilian Film Festival.
The festival is to take place from 26th to 29th of September at BMICH Cinema Hall. The films Life is a Breath of Air and Offside will be screened on the first day of the festival. The 4-day festival will be open for public from the second day onwards. Films will be screened in 2 sessions at 3:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. Look at That and The Enemy Within are scheduled to be screened on the 27th. 2 films, If I Were You Part 2 and Olga, are to be screened on the 3rd day of the festival. An Adventure Through Time and Central Station are scheduled to be screened on the final day of the festival. Cinema enthusiasts will be able to experience this Latin American Film Festival on free of charge. The public will also have the opportunity to win prizes. The acting ambassador of Brazil to Sri Lanka joined for an exclusive interview with the national television on this regard.
Welcome, sir. Just tell us about the 3rd Brazilian Film Festival.
Previous editions were a huge success, so the public was very positive in relation to the content, and that's why we are very stimulated and excited to keep bringing more Brazilian movies to Sri Lanka in the film festival, not only this time but definitely in the near future as well.
Why it is so important to enhance cultural links between Sri Lanka and Brazil?
This is a very good question because, as I am always say, the relationship between Brazil and Sri Lanka can be strengthened through culture because both countries share the same historical heritage on account of the Portuguese that came here and went to Brazil as well. And I feel that we are kind of similar in many other things. When you take, for example, music, when you take the percussion, drums and everything else, you can feel the similarities between the 2 countries. And in addition to that, I think there is a natural curiosity of our people, well, in Brazil in relation to Sri Lankans and vice versa, to get more culture, to get to know each other better, and that's why we are very delighted to promote culture here. And I am sure that the Embassy of Sri Lanka in Brazil has the same objectives there.
What are the other things that you wish to initiate in the near future?
Talking about cinema, this year we are having a very special edition because it is not only happening in Colombo, the capital, but actually in the beginning of this month of September we had the film festival screened in the context of the 5th Jaffna Film Festival. So it was a very nice opportunity to take the Brazilian productions to the north of the island. After Colombo, we are planning to have, still this year, screenings in Kandy, because it's a very iconic place in Sri Lanka, and also in the south of the island, probably in Matara. This is about cinema, but we are also planning to have the Brazilian Food Festival together with the Hilton Colombo Residency in the beginning of October. So from the 3rd to the 12th of October at the Hilton's restaurant, we are going to have 3 Brazilian chefs that came from Brazil delivering probably the most delicious and tasteful Brazilian dishes to Sri Lankans.
What is your message to Sri Lankans?
Well, my message is very, very positive, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank the Sri Lankans for being so interested in getting more information about Brazil. I think this is a very good sign that we are doing things properly, and it's also an extra motivation for us to keep bringing cultural events. Next coming year, for example, Brazil and Sri Lanka will celebrate 60 years of bilateral relations, and if possible we would like to bring more attractions other than cinema and food, perhaps something more comprehensive in terms of culture to Sri Lankans.
Well, the third round of senior officials' talks between Sri Lanka and Australia was held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Colombo recently. The senior officials' talks held biannually is the principal platform between Sri Lanka and Australia to take stock of the existing relations and to discuss avenues for strengthening future cooperation in keeping with policy priorities of the two countries. The Sri Lankan delegation was led by Additional Secretary, Bilateral Affairs East of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, P. Selvaraj, while the Australian delegation was headed by Dr. Lachlan Strahan, the First Assistant Secretary of the South West Asia Division of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade in Australia. The two countries held extensive discussions on strengthening cooperation on key areas across the broad spectrum of relations, including transnational organized crime, regional and multilateral issues. Both sides agreed to maintain the excellent momentum in the relationship and underscored their commitment to a rule-based, open and inclusive regional order and to strengthening regional architecture, including the Indian Ocean Rim Association and the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium. High Commissioner of Australia to Sri Lanka, David Holly, was also part of the Australian delegation.
Research icebreaker Paula Stern has set off on a year-long research trip to the Arctic to study the effects of climate change in the area. Hundreds of scientists will visit the ship in that time to use it as a base from which to study the climate.
It's the first climate change research expedition of its kind. On Friday, icebreaker Polar Stern embarked on a year-round trip to the Central Arctic, carrying scientists from 19 countries on board. They'll spend the next year close to the North Pole, observing key climate processes, in the hope of being able to generate more robust climate predictions in the future. Marcus Rex, leader of the expedition Mosaic, said there is no region of our planet that is warming as rapidly and as substantially as the Arctic, and especially in winter.
Never before a modern research icebreaker has ventured out to the inhospitable Central Arctic in winter. In summer, icebreakers have been there, not in winter, where the ice is so thick that we will be locked in the ice, we can't break it, and we will just drift with it, going where the ice is going, no matter where this will be. And we will be in the hands of nature, driven by the forces of wind and ice, for better or worse.
Until now, researchers have lacked necessary icebreaker equipment to tackle the winter season. Monitoring stations will be set up around the vessel and a landing strip will be built on the ice to accommodate research aircraft. 4 other icebreakers from Russia, China and Sweden will supply the expedition with fuel and personnel. Since 1979, the Arctic sea ice extent has declined by nearly 12% per decade.
The first 2-storied public fair constructed in this country at the town of Dompe was vested in the people yesterday under the patronage of Minister Patili Champika Ranawaka. It was constructed under the Sukitapuravara project. A sum of 6.8 million rupees was spent on this project. This building, comprising of modern facilities, has been constructed instead of the public fair, which was held in a marshy land under very few facilities. The ground floor of the building consists of 87 business places. There are facilities for 54 businesses on the first floor. There are facilities such as vehicle park, places to clean vegetables and fruits, and sanitary facilities as well. A group including Gampa District Member of Parliament Harshana Rajakarna participated on this occasion.
The presidential candidate of the National People's Power, Anura Kumara Dissanayake, says that under his administration, he will act to raise the living standards of people in estates and ensure that every estate worker is given a house with a land. He expressed these views at a presidential election propaganda meeting held in Hatton today. The People's Rally held at the Hatton bus stand was organized by the Kandukara Sahodaratva campaign. Speaking further, Anura Kumara Dissanayake said that no one did anything at all to raise the living standards of estate workers.
Today is the third day of the International Book Fair being held at the Colombo Bandanayake Memorial International Conference Hall premises. A large crowd was present at the book fair today as well. The official television media sponsor this time is National Rupavahini.
Right now I'm at the BMI Theatre, the Sirma Bandaranaike Memorial Exhibition Centre, and today happens to be the third day of the Colombo International Book Fair 2019, organised for the 21st consecutive year by the Sri Lanka Book Publishers Association.
The exhibition is organised by the Sri Lanka Book Publishers Association. Books from every field, including books that won the Swarna Pustaka and Rajatha awards, can be obtained from here. New books are launched every year too. The book, written by Dr. Palitha Ganivatta, titled Anagela Palanda Sahatavat Katha, was launched today. The Piruvana Potvahansa, which is considered to be the world's smallest Buddhist book, has been put on display for the public today as well. Founder of the Dahan Paramitha Foundation, Prasadi Kodaguda, presented a copy of this book to the chief of the Buddhist Cultural Centre, that's Nadimala, to Venerable Kirama Vimala Jyoti Thero.
The final war exercise attack of the Diyakava operation will be held tomorrow in Kuchaveli, Trincomalee. The Diyakava war exercises commenced on the 3rd of September. The objective of these exercises was to train groups of soldiers to carry out joint operations as one team during an emergency. The Commando Regiment, the Special Force, Air Warfare Force, the Mechanical Infantry Regiment were represented by 2,400 soldiers at the war exercises. 600 Navy and Air Force personnel also participated. Commander-in-Chief of the Pakistani Army Special Services Force, Major General Hussain Mumtaz, and a group engaged in a tour of the War Exercise Operations Centre today. An explanation was given to the senior Pakistani Army personnel who toured the inside of the operations headquarters regarding the final mission and other operation methods. The Pakistani Army personnel who arrived at the mission headquarters were warmly welcomed by the Exercise Director, Major General Laksiri Waduge, and Chief of the Commander Regiment, Major General Pradeep De Silva.
The annual awards festival of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, National Rupavahini's Mihimata Thaninatha, Never Alone, Ever on Earth, creation has been selected among the best documentary programs. The awards festival will be held on the 21st of November in Tokyo, Japan, in conjunction with the annual general meeting sessions of the Union. This time's competition is being organised under the Radio, Television and New Media Division. 4 programs presented by China, Japan and Sri Lanka have been selected for the final round of the Television Documentaries Division. The program submitted by the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation has been directed by Assistant Director of the Documentaries Unit, Chandana Seneviratna. He is the owner of the script of this creation as well.
Well, just before we conclude, a special program of Sihina Ki Ra, in which President Maithripala Sirisena will be participating, will be telecast over Rupavahini tonight at 10:20. This is the first occasion a state ruler in Sri Lanka is taking part in a musical program on a TV network. We invite you to view this special program later tonight. Well, that's all we've got for you this evening from the Rupavahini English News. Join us once again tomorrow. Until then, good night.